You've been told it was a fantasy. A story invented by obsessive fans. A lie. But what if the greatest love story never told was hidden in plain sight, broadcast to millions every Saturday night? What if two members of the world's biggest boy band were living a secret romance, right under the noses of their creators? This is the story of Larry Stylinson. The belief held by millions that Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson of One Direction were more than friends. A belief their own team allegedly worked to bury. Both men have denied it. Louis Tomlinson himself has called the theory the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. He says it drove a wedge between two best friends. And yet, the belief endures. Today, we're not here to tell you what to believe. We are opening the vault. We're going back to 2010, to the high-pressure incubator of the X Factor, to uncover the moments on and off screen that gave birth to a phenomenon. To answer the question, what really happened in the beginning? Chapter 1, The Auditions, a Fated Encounter. Before the stadiums, before the superstardom, there were just 5 boys with a dream. In the summer of 2010, a 16-year-old Harry Styles walked onto the X Factor stage. He had a raw, soulful voice and the charm of a future king of pop. Soon after, an 18-year-old Louis Tomlinson stepped to the same microphone, brimming with a nervous, cheeky confidence. On paper, they were just 2 kids in a sea of thousands. But the story of Larry doesn't begin on the stage. It begins, as legend has it, in the most unglamorous of places, the toilets. The fan narrative is that this is where Harry and Louis first met. A comically mundane start to an epic tale. While this is a cornerstone of the fandom's lore, there is no public record, no tweet, that proves it happened. But what if their paths had already crossed? Here is where the mythology truly begins. Some of the most dedicated fan investigators have unearthed a theory that Harry and Louis, both lead singers of local bands, competed at the same Battle of the Bands in 2009. The evidence? Unverified social media posts. An alleged ghost of a tweet from Louis, praising the fella from White Eskimo for his sick voice. There is no reliable proof this ever happened. But it doesn't matter. It was the first layer of the legend, the idea that these two souls were destined to find each other. Whether they met in a crowded arena or a backstage bathroom, one thing was becoming clear: a connection was sparking long before a band was ever imagined. But to see it, the world would first have to watch their dreams die. Chapter 2, July 22, 2010, The Phoenix from the Ashes. Bootcamp. The brutal chopping block of the X Factor. For Harry and Louis, it was the end of the line. One by one, they were cut. Along with Niall Horan, Liam Payne, and Zayn Malik, their solo journeys were over. You can see the devastation on their faces. But then, a twist of fate. Or perhaps, a stroke of television genius. Simon Cowell and Nicole Scherzinger decided to give them a lifeline. As a group, the formation of One Direction is now pop history. But for those watching closely, the real story was in the micro-expressions. As 5 boys are reborn on stage, a wave of relief washes over them. And in the middle of it all, Harry and Louis find each other like magnets. Look at the photos. While the others are still processing the shock, Louis's arm is already wrapped around Harry's shoulder. Harry is leaning into him, finding his center in the storm. This wasn't the awkward body language of strangers. To millions, it looked like an immediate, instinctual gravity. This was the first piece of visual evidence. The first question in a long line of them. Why, out of 4 other boys, did they gravitate to each other so fast? If you believe they had met before, this was a reunion. If you believe this was their true beginning, it suggests a chemistry that was undeniable from the very first second. Out of the ashes of their solo careers, One Direction was born. And at the heart of its formation, a dynamic was already sparking. From this moment on, every interaction would be captured, catalogued, and analyzed. Because the band had started giving fans a secret window into their world. Chapter 3, The Video Diaries, The Sacred Texts. If the formation was the spark, the X Factor video diaries were the gasoline. Each week, the boys would sit on a staircase and answer fan questions. The videos were chaotic, charming, and deeply revealing. They were meant to build a fan base. But for a growing number of viewers, they became the primary source material for a hidden love story. These weren't just diaries. They were the sacred texts of the Larry fandom. The dynamic was impossible to ignore. Louis and Harry, almost always seated at the center, a tangle of limbs and inside jokes. Analyzing these diaries is an art form. It's a study of stolen glances and physical closeness. In one diary, Lewis is asked about a running joke involving carrots. He then adds, with what fans see as a deliberate look towards Harry, that he also likes women who like Lamborghinis and Rolex watches. To an outsider, it's nonsense. To a believer, it was code. And Harry was the only one who had the key. Another moment became gospel. Lewis casually mentions he's tried a certain sweet with Harry many times. The other boys don't flinch. But the camera catches Harry's fleeting, private smile. These were the moments that convinced millions. The physical proof was just as powerful. In one famous clip, as the others talk, fans believe Harry silently mouths "I love you" in Lewis's direction. Is it real? Or a trick of the light and wishful thinking? The mystery is the point. And sometimes, the band played right into it. Harry once declared with a laugh, "My first real crush was Lewis Tomlinson." For the ever-growing army of Larrys, this was no joke. It was a Freudian slip. The truth, hiding in plain sight. A joke, or the loudest secret ever told. Chapter 4, On Stage and Backstage, a Public Secret. The diaries were the private world. The live shows were the public spectacle. Even under the immense pressure of a live performance, Harry and Lewis seemed to exist in their own bubble. Fans didn't just watch, they became archivists. They built compilations of so-called Larry moments, documenting every shared smile across the stage, every subtle touch. They were seen as anchors. Small acts of reassurance in the middle of a hurricane. And the hugs. The hugs became legendary. After a tense elimination, they were often the first to embrace. These weren't polite pats on the back. They were full-bodied, lingering hugs that fans read as a desperate need for comfort. Life rafts in a sea of screaming fans and flashing lights. Backstage footage from the spin-off show The Extra Factor only added more fuel. In the chaos before and after performing, they were inseparable. But this is where the story takes a turn. Skeptics see only two close friends, bonded by a surreal experience. And they have a point. Lewis has since confirmed that the constant analysis forced them apart. It put a strain on their real friendship, forcing them to become self-conscious. But in 2010, that awareness hadn't fully kicked in. Every glance, every hug, felt raw and unfiltered. But this unfiltered connection had an expiration date. The world was watching. And soon, the story would no longer be theirs to control. Chapter 5, The Narrative Battle: Bromance versus Romance. As One Direction's fame exploded, a war began. A war of narratives. On one side, the official story, a bromance. Harry and Lewis were presented as the cheeky best mates of the group. The term Larry Stylinson was even acknowledged, but framed as a funny friendship name. It was marketable. It was safe. But for the fans, bromance felt like a lie. They believed they were witnessing a genuine romance, deliberately concealed by their management. This is where the conspiracy was born. The theory that a gay relationship inside the world's biggest boy band was seen as a commercial risk. That a love story was being actively suppressed. It's a powerful fan theory, but it is important to state there is no credible public evidence of an orchestrated cover-up. This belief turned fans from observers into digital detectives. Lewis, who was in a public relationship with Eleanor Calder, became the center of the storm. Skeptics saw his relationship as proof that Larry wasn't real. Believers saw it as part of the cover-up. Lewis himself said the rumors were disrespectful to his girlfriend and created an unbearable atmosphere. Then came the moment that crystallized the entire battle. A tweet from Lewis to Harry. October 2, 2011. A date etched into the fandom's memory. It reads, "Always in my heart at Harry_Styles. Yours sincerely, Lewis." For fans, this was a public declaration of love. A cornerstone of their entire belief system. For others, it was a sweet message between friends. Was it a line from a forgotten love letter, or a note between mates? The answer to that question is the key to everything. It was the fundamental divide. Were you listening to the industry machine, or were you trusting your own eyes? The final takeaway. The X Factor was the crucible. It's where two boys were forged into pop stars, and where 1,000 tiny moments, a look, a touch, a joke, were forged by fans into a modern myth. For millions, These weren't coincidences. They were puzzle pieces. And when assembled, they revealed a hidden romance. The official narrative has never wavered. It was a deep friendship, strained and ultimately damaged by the weight of fan speculation. Louis Tomlinson has been painfully clear. He has called it bullshit. More recently, in 2024, he seemed to surrender to the sheer force of the narrative, stating, "There is nothing I can do to stop those who believe in this conspiracy. They are so connected to what they believe that they will not see the truth for what it really is." And yet, the belief persists. It persists because it wasn't a story handed down by publicists. It was a story discovered by a community that felt they were seeing something true. The final truth may be lost forever, blurred by time, fame, and the power of collective belief. But what is undeniable is that in the bright, unforgiving lights of a reality TV show, two teenage boys formed a bond so powerful it captivated the world. A bond that sparked a decade-long debate about friendship, fame, and the stories we choose to see. Now, the evidence is before you. What do your eyes see? A friendship of a lifetime, or the ghost of a love story the world was never allowed to know? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories that shape pop culture, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives.